The rain pounded against the window like forgotten accusations as Elias Hawthorne clutched the worn leather wallet in his trembling hands, its edges frayed by decades of secrecy. At 87, his once strong fingers now betrayed him, but the weight of what lay inside felt heavier than ever a ghost from a summer night 50 years ago that had haunted him through wars, weddings, and the quiet erosion of time. He knew handing it over would shatter the fragile peace he'd built, but as the police station loomed ahead, Elias whispered to himself, "It's time to set them free." Elias stepped into the dimly lit precinct, the fluorescent lights buzzing like the swarm of doubts in his mind. The young officer at the desk, Officer Ramirez, looked up with polite indifference, his uniform crisp and his face unmarked by the scars of regret. "Can I help you, sir?" he asked, but Elias didn't respond at first. Instead, he placed the wallet on the counter with a deliberate slowness, as if parting with a piece of his soul. "This belonged to a man who vanished in 1975, Elias said, his voice cracking like old parchment. "I found it that night, buried in the woods behind my old farm. I should have turned it in then, but fear stopped me. Now, it's yours to make right." Ramirez's eyes widened as he opened the wallet, revealing faded ID cards, a crumpled photo of a young family, and a bloodstained note that hinted at foul play. The case file on the disappearance of Thomas Reed had gathered dust for half a century, labeled unsolved and forgotten. But here was Elias, an unlikely harbinger of truth, his wrinkled face etched with the lines of a life burdened by silence. As Ramirez called in his superiors, Elias sat in a hard plastic chair, his mind drifting back to that fateful evening in July 1975. He had been 37 then, a sturdy farmer with a young wife, Margaret, and 2 small children depending on him. The air had been thick with the scent of pine and impending rain as he wandered the woods after a long day in the fields, seeking solace from the stresses of a failing crop. That's when he stumbled upon his wallet half buried in the soft earth near a cluster of oaks. At first, he thought it was trash, but the glint of metal caught his eye. Pulling it free, he felt a chill despite the summer heat. Inside were Thomas Reed's driver's license, a few dollars, and that photo. Thomas with his wife and infant daughter, all smiles under a sunny sky. But it was the note that froze Hima's scribbled message in hurried ink. "Meet me at the old mill. Bring the evidence. Don't trust Harlan." Blood smears marred the edges, and Elias's heart raced. Harlan was Harlan Crow, the local sheriff back then, a man known for his iron fist and whispered corruption. Rumors swirled that Crow had ties to shady dealings, but no one dared speak up. Elias had shoved the wallet into his pocket, intending to report it the next day. But that night, news broke. Thomas Reed, a journalist investigating corruption in their small town of Willow Creek, had vanished. Search parties combed the woods, but nothing turned up. Elias watched from afar, the wallet burning a hole in his dresser drawer. What if turning it in implicated him? What if Crow came after his family? Fear wrapped around him like vines, and he buried the secret deep. Years passed. Margaret bore another child, a boy named Samuel. The farm prospered, then faltered under droughts and economic shifts. Elias served in the reserves during a brief conflict overseas, returning with medals and nightmares. Through it all, the wallet remained hidden in a locked box in the attic, a silent sentinel of his cowardice. Now, in the present, as detectives swarmed around him, Elias felt a strange relief mingled with dread. "Why now, Mr. Hawthorne?" asked Detective Lena Voss, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, her notebook poised like a weapon. Elias met her gaze, his blue eyes watery but resolute. "My granddaughter, Lilith's studying journalism, just like Thomas was. She reminds me of what I could have been, brave. And at my age, you realize holding on to guilt is like carrying stones to your grave. I want to lighten the load before I go." Voss nodded, her expression softening. She explained that the note could link to new evidence. DNA tech had advanced, and the blood might yield clues. As they processed the wallet, Elias shared more details: the exact spot in the woods, the eerie quiet that night, the way the moon had cast shadows like accusing fingers. Back home that evening, Elias sat in his worn armchair, the house empty since Margaret's passing 5 years ago. Samuel, now in his 50s, lived across town with his own family, but they visited often. Lily, 22 and full of fire, was his favorite. She called him Pops, and filled his days with stories of her college adventures. The phone rang, jolting him. It was Samuel. "Dad, what happened?" "The news is buzzing about some old case reopening because of you." Elias sighed, recounting the day's events. Samuel's voice grew tense. "You never told us about this. Why keep it secret all these years?" "Shame, son. Pure shame. But it's out now, and whatever comes, I'll face it." As he hung up, Elias felt the first pangs of unease. What if the truth unearthed more than just Thomas's fate? What if it dragged his own family into the mire? The next morning, Lily burst through the door, her curly hair wild and her eyes alight with excitement. "Pops, I can't believe Idioria hero. My professor says this could be huge for my thesis on unsolved crimes." Elias chuckled weakly, pulling her into a hug. "Not a hero, sweetheart. Just an old man righting a wrong." But as they talked, Lily's questions probed deeper. "What made you find it? Were you alone that night?" Elias hesitated, memories flickering. He had been alone, but there was something else, a distant shout he'd dismissed as an animal. Now it nagged at him. Days turned into weeks as the investigation gained momentum. The blood on the note matched Thomas Reed's, confirming foul play. The name, Harlan, pointed straight to the late Sheriff Crow, who had died 20 years ago under suspicious circumstances, a supposed hunting accident. Detective Voss visited Elias regularly, updating him. "We're exhuming Crow's body for DNA comparison. And that mill mentioned? It's long gone, but we're searching the site." Elias nodded, but his health was fading. Arthritis flared, and nights brought dreams of that summer woods, where shadows whispered accusations. One afternoon, as Elias napped, a knock startled him. It was an unexpected visitor, a woman in her 50s, elegant with silver-streaked hair, standing on his porch with tear-filled eyes. "I'm Clara Reed," she said softly. "Thomas's daughter. I was just a baby in that photo." Elias's heart clenched. This was the twist he hadn't anticipated, the living remnant of his buried secret, come to confront him. Clara stepped inside, her voice trembling. "The police told me about the wallet. I grew up without a father, believing he abandoned us. My mother died brokenhearted. Why did you wait so long?" Elias bowed his head, tears streaming. "Fear, Clara. Fear of a powerful man. Fear for my family. But that's no excuse. I stole years from you." She sat across from him, her anger melting into shared sorrow. "Tell me everything. Help me understand." As Elias recounted the night, Clara listened, her face a mosaic of pain and gratitude. In that moment, the wallet's return bridged two shattered lives, offering a fragile thread of healing. But as they spoke, Clara revealed her own secret. She'd been investigating her father's disappearance independently for years, uncovering hints of a larger conspiracy involving town officials. "Crow wasn't alone," she whispered. "There might be others still alive who know." Elias felt a surge of purpose. Perhaps his act wasn't just atonement, it was the spark for justice long denied. The conversation stretched into evening, with Lily joining them, her youthful energy igniting new resolve. Together, they pored over old newspaper clippings Clara brought, piecing together fragments of the past. As Clara left, promising to return, Elias felt lighter, the weight of 50 years beginning to lift. Yet, in the quiet of night, he wondered, what other secrets lay buried, waiting to surface? The investigation deepened, pulling Elias into a whirlwind he hadn't expected at his age. Detective Voss called him in for more interviews, her team sifting through the wallet's contents like archaeologists unearthing a lost civilization. The note's cryptic message, "Don't trust Harlan," became the linchpin, linking to archived files on Thomas Reed's exposés about embezzlement in Willow Creek's town hall. Elias sat in the interrogation room, not as a suspect, but as a key witness, his hands folded on the cold table. "I heard a shout that night," he confessed for the first time, the memory sharpening with each retelling. "It was muffled, like a man in pain, but I convinced myself it was nothing." Voss leaned forward, her eyes intense. "That could be crucial. We're cross-referencing with other disappearances from that era. Crow had enemies, but Reed was the boldest." Back home, Elias found solace in routine tending his small garden, where tomatoes ripened under the sun like reminders of life's persistence. Samuel visited more often, his concern etched in furrowed brows. "Dad, this is stirring up old ghosts. Are you sure you're up for it?" Elias patted his son's shoulder. I've run from them long enough, Sam. Facing them now feels like breathing fresh air. Lily, ever the enthusiast, dove into research, her laptop a constant companion. She uncovered digital scans of Reed's articles, painting a picture of a crusader against corruption. Pops, Thomas was like a real-life hero. He exposed how crows siphoned funds for personal gain. No wonder they silenced him. One evening, as Elias and Lily discussed the case over tea, a surprise arrived. Clara Reed returned, this time with a weathered box of her father's belongings. I found these in Mom's attic after she passed, Clara said, her voice laced with emotion. Letters, notes, maybe something connects. They spread the items on the table, yellowed envelopes, a journal with frantic entries. One letter stood out, addressed to Thomas from an anonymous source. The evidence is in the mill's basement. Meet Friday. Careful H is watching. Elias's pulse quickened. That's the night he vanished. I found the wallet Saturday. Clara's eyes met his, a bond forming in shared quest. If we can prove Crow did it, it might bring closure to other families too. But amid the progress, a twist emerged unexpectedly. While sorting the box, Lily gasped. Look at this photo, it's Thomas with a woman, not your mom, Clara. Clara examined it, her face paling. The image showed Thomas arm in arm with a younger woman, dated months before his disappearance. I never knew. Mom always said he was faithful. The revelation hung heavy, humanizing Thomas beyond the martyr image. He wasn't perfect, perhaps an affair complicated things, drawing enemies closer. Elias felt a pang, secrets bred more secrets, echoing his own hidden burden. This changes nothing about his murder, Elias said firmly, his voice steadying them. But it reminds us, people are flawed, yet deserving of truth. Clara nodded, tears welling. You're right. It hurts to rewrite the story I knew. That night, Elias lay awake, reflecting on his own imperfections. He'd been a good husband, a devoted father, but the wallet's shadow loomed large. Margaret had sensed his unrest, often asking about his distant moods, but he'd brushed it off. Now, he wished he could apologize to her ghost. The next day brought more developments. Voss arrived with news. DNA from the exhumed body confirmed Crow's involvement. The blood on the note had traces of Crow's skin under Reed's nails, suggesting a struggle. It's enough for a posthumous indictment, she said. But we're digging deeper. There might be accomplices. Elias felt vindication swell in his chest, but it was bittersweet. What about justice for the living? Voss smiled faintly. That's why we fight on. As word spread, the town buzzed. Old-timers whispered in diners, and local news ran features on the grandfather's gift. Elias became an unwitting celebrity, fielding calls from reporters. Lily shielded him, but one interview slipped through with a podcaster fascinated by cold cases. During the recording, Elias spoke from the heart. At my age, you see life as a tapestry of choices. I chose silence once, and it cost dearly. Now, I choose truth, hoping it mends what was broken. The episode went viral, drawing messages of support and one anonymous threat. Some secrets should stay buried. Stop digging. Elias showed it to Voss, who traced it to a burner phone. Could be a prank, but we'll monitor. Unease crept in, but Elias refused to cower. Instead, he bonded deeper with Clara, sharing stories of their parallel lives. She revealed her own struggles raising kids alone after a divorce, channeling grief into advocacy for missing persons. You're stronger than I ever was, Elias told her. Clara squeezed his hand. We all have our moments. Yours came late, but it came. In a quiet twist, Samuel confessed a secret of his own during a family dinner. Dad, I knew about the wallet. I found it as a kid, snooping in the attic. I didn't understand, so I put it back. Elias stared, shock rippling through him. Why didn't you say? I saw how it weighed on you. Figured it was your burden to bear. The admission shifted perspective. Samuel's silence mirrored Elias's, a generational echo of fear. But it also forged understanding, drawing the family closer. As the investigation unearthed more bank records tying Crow to cronies, Elias felt the narrative evolving. Thomas wasn't just a victim. He was a catalyst for change, inspiring Lily's career and Clara's healing. One afternoon, in the garden, Elias planted a sapling with Lily and Clara. For new beginnings, he said, dirt under his nails like reclaimed earth. Yet, as autumn leaves fell, Elias sensed the story wasn't over. Whispers of living suspects lingered, and the threat loomed. But in his heart, peace bloomed amid the chaos. The threat's shadow grew, transforming Elias's quiet life into a guarded vigil. Voss assigned patrols near his home, but Elias waved off concerns. "I've lived through worse," he said, though sleep evaded him, replaced by visions of that long-ago shout. Clara became a frequent visitor, her presence a balm. Together, they reviewed Thomas's journal, decoding entries about the Circle, a suspected ring of corrupt officials. Dad mentioned a confidant named Elias. Clara read aloud one day, freezing. Elias's breath caught. "That's my name, but I never knew him." A coincidence? Or something more? Lily, ever resourceful, cross-checked town records. "Pops, there was another Elias back then, Elias Crow, Harlan's brother." The revelation twisted like a knife. Harlan had a sibling, long estranged, who vanished around the same time. Could the wallet implicate family ties? Voss confirmed it. Elias Crow was a low-level clerk, possibly the anonymous tipster. If Thomas met him, it explains the mill rendezvous. Elias Hawthorne felt the irony, keenly sharing a name with a ghost in the machine. It humanized the villains. Even Crow had kin caught in the web. Amid this, an unexpected character emerged. Marcus, a retired mill worker in his 70s, who contacted Voss after hearing the podcast. Frail and wheezing from years of labor, Marcus arrived at Elias's home under police escort, his eyes darting nervously. "I was there that night," Marcus confessed, his voice a gravelly whisper. "Guarding the mill for extra cash. Saw Harlan drag a body Thomas's, I reckon, into the woods." Elias's heart pounded. Why stay silent? Fear. Harlan threatened my family. I moved away, changed my name. But hearing your story, I can't die with this. The twist reshaped everything. Marcus wasn't just a witness. He was the shout Elias heard, a muffled cry for help stifled by terror. His testimony, corroborated by scars from a work accident that matched a struggle, bolstered the case. Clara embraced Marcus tearfully. "You could have saved us pain, but I understand. Fear is a thief." Marcus nodded, tears streaming. "I'm sorry. Testifying now is my amends." As Voss built the dossier, implicating two living accomplices, former councilmen in their 80s, the town confronted its dark history. Protests erupted for accountability, with Lily at the forefront, her voice amplified by social media. Elias watched proudly, but his body weakened. A doctor's visit revealed congestive heart failure. Time was slipping. Samuel urged rest, but Elias insisted on involvement. "This is my legacy, son." In a poignant moment, Clara shared a letter from her mother, written before death. "If truth comes, forgive. Love endures." It echoed Elias's journey, forgiveness as the ultimate human value. One stormy night, the anonymous threat materialized. A brick through Elias's window, wrapped in a note. "Stop or join Reed." Voss ramped up protection, tracing the act to one accomplice's grandson, desperate to shield family shame. Arrests followed, unraveling the circle. Elias testified via video, his words resonant. "We all carry wallets of secrets. Opening them frees us." The trial began, posthumous for Crow, live for the others. Evidence mounted: the wallet, DNA, Marcus's account painting a conspiracy of greed and murder. Clara took the stand, her testimony raw. "My father's death stole my childhood, but this man's courage," gesturing to Elias, "gave me closure." Lily blogged the proceedings, turning personal pain into public awareness. As verdicts loomed, Elias gathered his family. "Whatever happens, know I love you. And remember, one act can ripple through time." Samuel, tearful, hugged him. "You've taught us that, Dad." In a final twist, Marcus revealed a hidden photo, Thomas and Elias Crow together, brothers in reform. "Your namesake was good," he told Elias. "Died trying to help." It closed a loop, redeeming the name Elias bore. As the guilty verdicts came, life sentences for the living, condemnation for the dead, Willow Creek exhaled. Memorials honored Thomas, with Elias as guest of honor. Weak but content, Elias visited the woods, wallet site now marked by a plaque. "Rest easy," he whispered. Home, surrounded by loved ones, Elias felt peace. The case solved not just a mystery, but healed souls. With the trial's end, a hush fell over Willow Creek. But for Elias, it was the dawn of reflection. The media frenzy faded, leaving him with quiet days filled by family visits and letters from strangers touched by his story. One envelope stood out, from a prison, pinned by one convicted accomplice, begging forgiveness. "I was young and scared," the letter read. "Your bravery shames me." Elias pondered replying, but Clara advised mercy. "Healing comes in layers," she said. They'd grown close, like surrogate family. Clara invited him to her home for Thanksgiving, where her children, now adults, greeted him warmly. Grandpa Elias, the youngest, called him, melting his heart. Lily thrived, her thesis published, crediting Pops as inspiration. "You showed me journalism's power," she said during a dedication ceremony. Samuel, too, evolved, volunteering at a cold case foundation. "Your secret taught me openness," he admitted. Elias's health declined steadily. Hospital visits increased, machines beeping like countdowns. Yet, he faced it with grace, dictating memoirs to Lily. "Start with the hook," he joked. "An old man, a wallet, a lifetime of regret." In those pages, he wove tales of love, Margaret's gentle strength, children's laughter and loss. The wallet symbolized more, humanity's capacity for error and redemption. One crisp morning, Voss visited, medal in hand. "For civic valor," she said. "You solved what we couldn't." Elias accepted humbly. "We all did. Together." As winter approached, Elias dreamed vividly. Thomas Reed appearing, not accusatory but grateful. "You freed me," the apparition said. Waking, Elias called Clara. "I think it's time to visit the grave." They drove to the cemetery where Thomas lay, unmarked until recently. Now, a stone read, "Truth Seeker, Beloved Father." Elias placed flowers, whispering, "Sorry it took so long." Clara linked arms with him. He'd understand. Back home, a surprise party awaited family, Marcus, even Voss. Laughter filled the air, stories shared like treasures. Marcus pulled Elias aside. "I found peace because of you." "And I because of truth," Elias replied. As evening waned, Elias addressed them. "Life's twists, fear, secrets, unexpected allies shape us. But love and courage define us." Toasts rose, emotions swelling. In the following weeks, Elias's condition worsened. Bedridden, he received visitors, each goodbye laced with gratitude. Lily read from his memoirs, voice cracking. Samuel held his hand, silent strength. Clara sang a lullaby from her childhood, tears flowing. On a snowy night, Elias slipped away peacefully, wallet photo Thomas's family beside him. The funeral drew crowds, eulogies praising his quiet heroism. "He taught us that it's never too late," Voss said. Clara spoke last. Elias didn't just solve a case, he mended hearts. In the aftermath, the foundation thrived, solving more cases. Lily became a renowned journalist, Samuel a mentor. Clara planted a tree at the wood's site, inscribed, "For Elias and Thomas, bearers of light." Years later, descendants visited, sharing the Talia grandfather's gift, rippling through time, embodying human resilience and the redemptive power of truth.